So let's start with this first wing here. In fact, I'm going to just move it so it's easier to film. There we go. So that's folded out flat. So when you buy a dream box, you've got an option for 40 or 80 totes. I guess you can buy it without the totes and put your own storage in, so you could have the shelves, but it comes with all of these little runners which these sit on, so I guess you could make your own shelving up or what have you, but I decided get the totes that are designed to fit and work around that. With that, so I bought the 80 tote option, which gave me the maximum number, because my view was any I didn't use I could put in the attic, and to be honest I'm only not using one, and that's because I put a side table in. So with the 80 totes you get a number of these thin ones, these sort of tall but medium ones, and then these small thin long ones. You also get these jars, and there was 16 of those jars, and I thought, what am I going to put in those jars? I'm not sure I'll use any of those. I've used all of them, so yeah, they come in really handy actually. You forget what you've got. So what we'll do is we'll start from the top and work down. So I have there my all my chemicals I've kept as high as I can because I have granddaughter that comes round. So we've got white spirit there. Now actually that's sort of my storage, it's not how I use it. It's in those two yellow liquids in those two jars there. That's what I use, and then that's my clean stuff for refilling it when I wish to. I've got my automotive primer. I usually have grey there as well, but I've run out, so I need to get some more. Got some Tamiya Fine Surface primer. Once that's used up I won't be using that again. There's nothing wrong with it, I just don't really like rattle cans, but sometimes what I do with rattle can primer, nice sunny day, is I go out and I pre-prime everything before I take it off the sprue. So I do use it sometimes. I think last time was on my Hellcat, so I've not done it for a couple of years. And I've got my still water there. Down here we've mainly got thinners, and again this is the bulk storage of my thinners. I don't decant from large bottles when I'm working, so I have my thinners there in all sorts of little dropper bottles for regular day-to-day use, and then I can control how much thinner I'm using. Then I've got my two airlines for my compressor. Now the compressor currently doesn't fit into this, but what I'm going to do, it's got a protective case on it that you don't really need, so I'm going to take the protective case off and then the compressor will fit underneath there. Now I'll try and rig it up so that ultimately I can connect the air lines to it and not have to move it, but it may be that we have to move it out when we're using it. I don't know yet, not tried it. And my airbrush stands. Then below that I have my Proxon power drill. I have my flexi line for it. This comes with a number of hooks on both doors. You got to remember this is aimed at craft people, so they try and cover lots of different bases. I don't really have a use for hooks, but it was handy for my flexi line. I've got my dust mask hung up there. If I'm using my drill, I'm usually got my dust mask on. Yeah, so that all works nicely. Then below that I've got my helping hands, my mini clamp. I've still got to bring my vise down. I've got my rod cutter, and that little cardboard thing there, you shove cocktail sticks in, and it's a holder that I made for painting stuff. I've been doing that for a few years, but if you go to Nigel's modelling bench, he's got a video shows you how to make one. And then below that I have these little jars I didn't think I'd use. So I've got masking tape in a couple, blue tack in one, small bottle tops, usually used for CA glue, You'll have seen me using those. Cocktail sticks or toothpicks, depending on your part of the world. Large bottle tops, and mainly milk bottle tops. Usually, I do use them for CA as well, but usually it's like gel CA or something like that, PVA, that type of stuff. Elastic bands and mini clamps. Then, if we start at the bottom, in this bottom tray, we have a folder, and in there I've got all my white plastic card sheet and mesh and bits and pieces like that, foil. So that's what's in there. The rest of them are then empty. I've then got what I'm calling an odd drawer. So I've got my collected tokens for Airfix. I've got some paper clips. I'll be doing a video on that soon. I've got my little painting stand for figures, some liquid lead, empty bottles. So that's going to be, there isn't really a home for it drawer. Machine tool bits. Not got much in there, but I've got a load of stuff to bring down from the loft and put in there, so that will be full. Then I have a tray with all my etching. So I've got a stack of etch there, generic. Now I put my etch in with my kit boxes as I buy upgrade sets. So this is all etch that isn't spoken for a specific kit, and you can see I've got yards and all sorts of stuff in there. Then I have a drawer just for wire. So bought wire, robbed wire, all sorts of wire in there, my wire straighteners and my bending tool for making handles, all in there. And I've got some lead metal in there as well. Then I have a decal tray. So these are all unused decals that may come in handy. It includes things like road signs and posters in 135 and what have you. Assorted ship, vehicle and aircraft decals. So one drawer of those. Then I have a drawer dedicated to my favourite tool, the file. So I've got that organised currently. How long it'll stay like that, who knows. But I've got at the back there, I've got packets of fresh ones that have never been used, and then I've got my in-use ones and my Infinity ones, and my Humbrol ones are in there. Still like those Humbrol ones. Then we go up to these bigger totes, and we've got rubber and rubber gloves, which I use sometimes for dioramas and stuff like that. If I'm doing work with plaster or something messy, I use rubber gauntlets because they go up your arm a bit. And then most of these are latex gloves for painting or what have you. And I've got my airbrushing mask at the back there. Then I've got stands in here, which is mainly the Tamiya paint stand solution. In here I've got pens and pencils, which includes my photo etch pencils, and then at the back I've got measuring. I've got more stuff to go in there yet. I've got my rolling tool and my track clamp in there, and then I've got it's a build jig in the back there. Might be more stuff going in there yet. All of this might move around as I start using it, as I say. In this one we've got drills and drill bits, and then hand tools at the back. So pliers, wire cutters, scissors, all of that stuff in the back. I've got just one solitary tool in there, but I've got a load of other tools similar that I use for my wooden model ship kits, and they'll all go in there when I bring them down from the attic. And then I've got in here my two airbrushes, my airbrush pot and my airbrush cleaning pot. Okay, moving to my centre section. I think we've already explained all of this. So if we go to this here, we've got Humbrol paints, Life Colour paints, second one up there. Then I've got Colour Coat System and Admiralty paints. I've got more paints to put in there that are up in the attic. Then I've got tube paints, some acrylics, some oils, about 50-50 mix, I guess. Then I've got I've got sponges in there, so masking sponges and the like. That can always be condensed if I need to need to find the space, but right now I can spread out a bit. Then I've got my hand rest and a clamp, just because I couldn't easily find anywhere else for them and I have space. And then there's an empty one. I've got in that one there, you can see the Panzer putty, so that's all masking in there. So we've got the Panzer putty, there's some Mascol, and behind that I've got some masking sheet. In there we've got my decals at the front, and then I've got polishing and white glues and glazing at the back, and then in the middle I've got my micro mesh. That is all weathering, so I've got weathering powders. The white jar is Tamiya's fake snow, and then behind that I've got some pastels, and below that is more weathering, more pastels, those Tamiya eyeshadows and my weathering brushes. Then we've got Vallejo paint, a combination of Vallejo, Meng, Mig, Hataka, all in there. Then we've got Tamiya, which I'm running down. It's a paint system I'm moving away from. I've got my palettes and paint, the little rotating paint discs. I'm not sure what they're called. And then I've got weathering in there, so it's mainly washers, pin washers and that sort of stuff in there. So the Tamiya MIG system, which I'm just playing with at the moment. I really could do with finding one system I like. I've got some AK naval stuff. It tends to go off after a while, so I don't like it so much. Humbrol stuff I like, but it's got a limited range, so I'm having to play with MIG at the moment, because Tamiya's got a limited range too, although I do like their stuff. And the rest of it's empty. Starting with the small one at the bottom, we've got mini pegs and pins, and I have a little tiny spirit level, quite often handy for wooden modelling. Then I've got my pipettes, AK pencils and sharpeners. This is all cleaning then, so brush cleaning and airbrush cleaning in that one. Then I've got my candle for annealing etch. What else have I put in there? Oh yeah, my knife sharpening, files, so it's more tools on this side. I've got my saws in the next one up, so hand saws, and then the blades behind the handles. Then I've got scrapers and chisels, tweezers, knife blades of all sorts of different types that I sharpen up as I use. I've got Zimmerite laying tools there and all sorts of stuff. Then I've got my knives, and at the back I've got fresh blades. Then I've got assorted hand tools in there and screwdrivers, and then I've got cutters, so my pyro cutter and my circular cutter, and then at the back there we've got some more hand tools, scriber and stuff. Then at the top I've got my sandpaper, sanding, assorted used abrasives. If we have a quick look, I've got my Flexifile system in there as well, and some other band abrasives, and then I've got the really rubbish adhesive backed abrasives for the trumpeter system. Safety glasses and the lenses for my magnifier. I've got my big sash clamps there. I've got more clamps to go in there. Then I've got, that's just got all my soldering stuff in, my soldering iron, mats, flux, wire, everything is in one. That one's empty. And then we've got medium size clamps in there and my tool vise. Then I've got a couple of empty ones. I have got more stuff to bring down yet. Then I've got in here stencils and abrasive sheets. So these stencils are in readiness for future projects I know I'm going to be doing, and my infinite cutting mats are in there. And then this tray is dedicated to my current in-between build, which is usually a small build, and I reckon will pretty much always fit in one of these. It's usually a little 172 aircraft, so there's a spoiler on what we're working on to follow the tractor. So working from the bottom up, I've got right to left wax for waxing rigging thread. I've got barrel sanders, mat pins, bulldog clips. Then again right to left, plastic pegs, wooden pegs, the Tamiya cotton swabs, and then some rotary cutting tools. Then I've got my sticky back masking film, and a tea towel. I've got another one to put on there. So I didn't think I was going to use these either. I've ended up using 3 of the 4. I did contemplate putting paper towel on there, but it's not really to hand when it's over here. Then I've got bottled primer. I've got my puffer, my etch cutting. That one's free. Then I've got white glue of different types. And then in here we've got thinner and flow improver, big bottle stuff. So oil paints for those two. And that was too tall to go in the tote, but it's for the thinning down the MIG washers further if I wish. Decal fix that wouldn't go in the drawer. That's a bottle of water which I use for flushing out the airbrush. Those are for cleaning paintbrushes. So I've got one for metallic paints, one for non-metallic paints. Always keep them separate. My airbrush cleaner, which again I refill this little dropper bottle. It's just easier to use and decant into there. Always make sure of I've always got 2 bottles basically, so as soon as I've finished that and I start using that, I'll order another one. And then the last shelf is all my different varnishes. I've got all sorts in there, so from polyurethane satin varnish, I've got matte and gloss, I've got metal varnish, I've got all sorts in there. But yeah, that is it. Now the big question is, what's the angle going to be when I do my roundups? Because I usually sit at my desk and have the models on my desk. So they're close to hand and it makes the shot a bit more colourful. So I don't know how that's going to look. It's possible that we could shoot from this corner edge here and put the stand that my iPad goes in on the corner there, which means you're likely to have that view in future roundups, I would think, if I move my chair. So that's probably the view you're going to get in the future. Anyway, that is my model space setup. You can now visualize when I'm doing my videos what my space is like and where I am, and gives you a great view of this Dreambox.